that is tops on our list is training. We feel a lot of these situations might have been avoided with better training. From our studies, we found that there are some officers that have 12, 13 years experience. It goes on both sides. There's some very young officers with very little experience. There's also some very experienced officers that are getting assaulted. It might be that the older officers have forgotten some of the training that they had. They need more in-service training. So both sides of the coin is getting hit, the older officers and the younger officers.
The job of selecting 207 Democratic delegates from Tarrant County to the state convention in San Antonio next month will partially be done here at Richland High School. This is where the 10th Senatorial District Convention will take place tomorrow afternoon. The 10th District includes North Tarrant County. It's here that George Wallace will receive his strongest support. Enthusiastic factions representing Wallace, Hubert Humphrey, and George McGovern are expected to make the delegate conventions somewhat less than calm. Wallace has less support in the southern part of the county. In the 12th Senatorial District, they will be meeting at Paschal High School at the same time, 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. The party regulars are attempting to take an uncommitted delegation to the state's convention. Wallace supporters don't exactly like that idea. There are 2,400 delegates from the precinct conventions. Of those, 1,300 are already committed. Wallace has 550 votes, McGovern 400, and Humphrey 350. With Wallace showing that much strength, there could be some stormy sessions ahead. Meanwhile, the Republican conventions are expected to back Nixon all the way. Channel 8's Phil Reynolds has a report on the Dallas County conventions.
Final figures now indicate that uncommitted delegates outnumber those for George Wallace and Dallas County, which would seem to mean fights in some senatorial district conventions tomorrow, with the possible exception of District 9, which meets here in North Mesquite High School. County Democratic Chairman Earl says Wallace delegates are assured of control only here in the Dallas County portion of the 9th Senatorial District. That district also extends into Ellis, Limestone, and Navarro counties, and of course conventions will be held in those counties tomorrow to determine the final makeup of the district delegation to the state convention in June. Meanwhile, what seems on the surface to be one of the most unlikely alliances in Texas politics appears to be in the making. That's a coalition between Wallace and McGovern forces to take over senatorial district conventions. Figures show that between the two forces, they could control conventions in Districts 8, here in 9, and in 16. But in the 23rd Senatorial District, even the total figures between Wallace and McGovern add up to only a little more than 39% of the convention delegates. It's apparent then that tomorrow afternoon at the 23rd District Convention, both McGovern and Wallace supporters will be after the uncommitted vote. In that district, uncommitted delegates comprise a whopping 42.5% of the entire convention. Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News on the Move at North Mesquite High School.
No, I don't believe it can represent the teachers any better than our present organization. We're organized and have been working very hard all year for the welfare and the benefits of teachers, and we'll continue to do so. I think that possibly the main thrust that the AFT representatives made last evening at the meeting was in the area of negotiations.
You made a statement yesterday that this course plays very, very tough. Just what makes the course play so hard?
I think, number one, it has very small greens. Number two, it has lakes and water that come into play at strategic places. And of course, it's laid out through all these oak trees, or whatever kind of trees they are. They're all over the place. It's like an old-type golf course. It's by saying that, a modern course has gigantic greens, gigantic fairways. This is entirely opposite. It has very small fairways. Each fairway, depending on which side of the green the pin's on, you're only aiming at half the fairway. You're not aiming at a whole fairway. It's it's like you're playing pinpoint golf. You got to try to put your drive on one half of the fairway, and then you got to try to get it close to the pin. And there's just so much trouble, and there's so many holes where you can take a double or a triple bogey that well, as Gary Player says, it's one of the finest courses we play in the country, and I can't offhand think of a better course in the United States, really.
Well, I played very well today. This is a great golf course here, and I was fortunate enough to hit a lot of good shots. I made a few good putts, so I was very pleased.
Could you give us a brief synopsis of how it went?
Well, I think I made 5 birdies and 1 bogey. I bogeyed 1 hole in the backside, and I made 1 birdie at the front and 4 at the back. So I came up with 4 under.
I saw you teeing off on 17, which I believe was your bogey hole.
Right.
What led to the bogey on that one?
Well, I didn't hit a very good tee shot. I was trying to hit a 2-iron to play short of the trees there, and I tried to fade the ball back into the fairway, and it didn't fade, so it ended up in fairly tall grass, and I left my second shot short, chipped up short, and then missed about an 8-footer.
Did your birdies come as a result of your approach shots or super putts?
Well, I made 1 real long putt, about a 30-footer, but the rest of them were pretty good golf shots. I hit the ball real well today. I missed a few I could have made, but I made a lot I could have very easily missed, so I think I'm a little ahead of the game today.
You're 5 under par halfway through. Are you going to change your style or just go out and shoot the same type the next 2 rounds?
Well, I don't think this is a golf course you can charge at all. You have to play very cautious here, especially when you get around 4, 5, 6, and 7 in that area. You have to really play the golf course. You have to play cautious, try to get your pars and go on to the next hole. There's no really let-up holes here. Even your par 5s are pretty good holes here. If you think a little bad or make a mistake somewhere along the way, you can make a bogey. So you have to be very cautious. So I think everybody plays the same way. A par is not such a bad score on this golf course.
Hey, Lee, you were 5 under coming to the last hole, and you made bogey.
Well, James, I tell you, that hole has really been nemesis to me. Yesterday, I was coming in, I was 2 under, and I hit a pretty good shot, and I 3-putted the green. And I think I was thinking pretty much about that today. I have driven the ball well off of the tee there and got it in excellent position. But I think today I just didn't have enough club. My caddy wanted me to hit a 4-iron, and I said, well, we hit a 4-iron to the back of the green from about the same position yesterday. So I decided I would hit a 5-iron, and I tried to hit it a little hard and pushed it in the trap, but it wouldn't have been enough club to actually reach the pin. And I think that's really the reason why I made the bogey. It was all my fault because she really wanted me to hit a 4-iron. But I'm happy with the round. Anytime that you can be 4 under par after 36 holes on Colonial, I think you're playing the best of golf that you could possibly play.
Where do you go when you have to accommodate 250,000 people for any undertaking? Well, the Explo 72 people decided that a Dallas freeway would be the best place. And where I'm standing now, here in between the lanes of the Woodall-Rogers Freeway in the near downtown area of Dallas, will be the focal point a month from now for the main gathering of the group. It'll be a religious rock festival. Featured will be the music of Johnny Cash, June Carter, Chris Christopherson, the New Folk Singers, and about 20 others. That'll be the climax of a week's activities that has been in the planning for several years. 2 years ago, as a matter of fact, about 20 people came to Dallas to begin preparations for the gigantic undertaking under the direction of the Campus Crusade for Christ International. Over the past 2 years, that number has grown to now 225. Today, another 120 were called to come into Dallas to help out. Much of the work has been done. Much of it remains to be done. There are problems of housing. For 2 years now, every hotel and motel room in Dallas, Denton, Fort Worth, and areas in between has been reserved for the week of June 12th through the 17th. 30,000 more rooms are needed now. Other problems include transportation. How do you get 100,000 or so people from one place to another? And how about feeding 3 meals a day to that number of people? One meeting in the Cotton Bowl, for example, will handle 100,000 people with Dr. Billy Graham as the principal speaker. Before you get worried, 25,000 seats will be put down on the AstroTurf. With only 30 days to go now, plans must be finalized and the entire operation set into full final motion. Today, the 225 or so workers took a short break from their work to listen to the founder of the Campus Crusade for Christ, Dr. Bill Bright. If spirits were lagging or the pressure becoming a little too much, workers were given a renewed inspiration to put forth that last final effort.
You're giving your last full ounce of devotion to Christ and to this cause, and as literally tens of thousands of people will soon be joining with us, we must be ready to greet them with warm and open hearts, challenging them to join with us in helping to reach the world for Christ. What an exciting hour to be alive, and what a wonderful privilege to be a part of something so great, where everything that is done will be calling attention to Christ and to His wonderful purpose for man. Great to be with you.
One final note. Almost all of the workers here are volunteers. They work for no pay, only pledges from organizations to sustain them. For 2 years now, they've been working toward 1 month from now. And well-deservedly, they'll be proud when 250,000 people stand here on June 17th. For on that day, their work will be ended and their dream come true. Jerry Park, Channel 8 News on the Move at the site of Explo 72 on the Woodall-Rogers Freeway.
of those only, how does it look like the delegations are going?
It looks like that the Wallace group will have the majority in probably more than any other group, certainly any more than any preference group. It's going to run pretty close between the Wallace and the uncommitted countywide. These last ones that are coming in from the 23rd District.
Well, we feel like now the name of the game is negotiation, and we feel like the best negotiators in the business are the American Federation of Teachers. That is for teachers' causes, for their interest, and we believe that they can do a better job for the teachers in negotiating with the school board.
Never mind.
Here, to your right.
It'll be worse when it gets bumped.
We're not in the switched voice business, never will be. It would be suicidal, totally uneconomic to try to duplicate the local exchange network. The only thing that is feasible is to provide business communications either between fixed points, as we propose to do, intra-company, or as Datran proposes, which would be a kind of a parallel to the TWX network, where if you have a teletypewriter, you can dial up anybody else who has a teletypewriter and talk in that mode.
Then what you're saying, Mr. Cox, is that through microwave you can install a telephone system in Company A in Dallas and Company B in Chicago cheaper than Bell would charge for normal long-distance service.
We would do it between Company A in Dallas and Company A in Chicago. In other words, by and large, it is to serve branch offices, factory, warehouse, that kind of intra-company requirement.
But to compete with Bell for long-distance service would not be economically feasible?
Not for normal long-distance calling. We propose to build some 700 to 800 microwave stations. They have, I think, something on the order of 8,000 microwave towers, plus miles and miles of coaxial cable and so on for intercity service.
You're a member of CTA now, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Have you had a falling out with them?
No, I haven't had any falling out with them. I just want to change and reform them. I tried to. That didn't seem to go, so we're going to offer the teachers in Fort Worth a choice.
Do you believe in strikes?
I don't believe in strikes only as a last resort, but I'd like to comment on that if I may, and I'm glad you asked it because I think there's some misinformation here. For instance, around the country there were only about 20 plus teacher strikes called by AFT, whereas in the NEA their figures go more something like 150 teacher strikes. I think you can see that there's a variety of difference there. We've been accused of being the ones who want strikes. If you look at the truth is, it's the other way around.